But I'm going to give you guys 5 tips that help you guys individually to be able to be successful in sales. Number 1 is self-confidence, right? In sales without self-confidence is going to be very, very challenging, right? Because the customer is going to feed off your energy. So for an example, if you're not confident about the product or service that you're selling, the customer can kind of feel that based on how you're talking about your product, right? That comes from body language. It comes from facial expressions. Those type of things will be able to tell whether your confidence is high, whether your tone of voice is about, right? How you pronounce your words when you're speaking, right? What your countenance on your face look like when it comes to self-confidence, right? You can't sell what you don't believe in at the end of the day, including yourself, right? So there's a statement that said, he or she who says she can or who she says she can't is both right. And that's true, because if you believe that you cannot, then it's going to be very challenging for you to do so. All right. We know confidence is contagion, you guys. If you walk into the room with a certain energy, if you walk into a territory with a certain posture and belief, people will listen. But if you're not so confident, if you're not so enthused about what you're speaking about or the product or service that you're selling, it's going to be hard for you to transfer that energy over to the customer about your product and service. Okay. Sales isn't just about what you say, but it's also about how you say it. All right. Number two is the numbers game, right? Without numbers, sales would be very challenging. But someone who doesn't have high confidence, they can make up with law of averages. Someone that's not very high in skill could make up with law of averages. And law of averages teaches us a number game. So for an example, if it takes me 20 people to be able to close 10 sales, I now have a law of average that I can work with, right? I know it takes me 20 sales calls. It takes me 20 doors to knock. It takes me 20 people to 3 steps to a conversation in my territory before I'm able to close 10 sales. So the more shots you take, the more chances you win, right? We've known that from a very minute standpoint. If you play sports, you understand that, right? If you don't shoot any shots at all, it's going to be very challenging for you to make any shots, right? Every no, this is what we got to keep in mind with law of averages. Every no is just a step closer to our yes. Something I learned how to look at it as a no just mean next opportunity, right? It's going to 1 or 2 people how you're going to take a no. The no is going to either hurt your feelings, it's going to bring your confidence down, and it's going to make you less susceptible to make that same pitch. Or you can have a champion mentality. Say it again.
I said I've been told no before. I'm not afraid to know.
100%. And that's the other side, the set of the mindset, right? Of having a champion mentality. You can hear no, and it encourages you. It challenges you. It makes you want to go harder to be able to help and close the next person that you talk to. So we got to remember that the numbers game can keep us alive long enough to generate a greater skill or to get better as I trained in this industry. Don't take rejection personal. It's just part of the math, right? At the end of the day, don't take the rejection personal. It's part of the math that comes with sales. Number 3 is taking control, right? It comes from our 8 great work habits. Taking control in the sales industry is very important. The one who asks the questions controls the conversation. Peace. This is your guy, David Barks-Bey, you guys. I'm just going to take a pause from the video real quick. If you're receiving value from this video and you like the information you've been hearing so far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below of your favorite valuable piece that you're able to take away and implement into your sales experience. Now, for those of you guys that's not into sales, but very interested, you're a little nervous, you think you're an introvert, you don't think you can make it in sales, listen, here with I Am Champions, we're going to coach, train, and develop you on how to become great and learn these tactics bit by bit and at your learning curve. If you're interested and want to get more videos or get access to our company of I Am Champions directly, use the number below in the description and text your first name, last name, and the word opportunity. The number is 240-856-5807. 240-856-5807. Let's get back to the video. Right? The one who asks the questions controls the conversation. So if we're getting into a communication standpoint with the customer, and maybe they got a few questions that they're uncertain about, or maybe they want to ask of what this and what's that. If you allow them to control the questionnaire standpoint, then now you're going to have to play reaction. Now you're going to have to be able to be quick on your feet, which is no problem because if we prepared and we know our product and service, but it's just a different feel when you can frame your questions that's already going to get these objections or these concerns that they have out the way as you present your product. This how taking control can help you. So instead of saying, hey, I totally understand that, right? You're interested in the Xfinity product or services for the IEP program. It will cost you $0 at all today. Actually, your first 30 days will be completely free for signing up with us today on site. So now they don't have to ask or have the concern of, am I gonna have to pay the $30? I don't have to worry about that objection at the end of my presentation when I go to close. Well, what's my bill gonna be like in 30 days? When should I receive my first payment? If you answer these questions or frame your question or your pitching in a way that you answer these questions before they ask them, now it leads to a smooth closing process, okay? But if you're not controlling the questions, if they got you on the back of your feet, on the back of your toes, and now you're trying to reactionary, now you're not using what you train, now you're being emotional because you feel under pressure, now it's going to be challenging for you to close them. One thing to keep in mind though, just as you feel so pressure, think about how you ask your questions to the customer and how they can feel pressured to make a decision. That's another way to take control. We don't want them to feel as if they have no way to leave out of the sales process, because most people don't want to be pushed or forced into buying something. Okay? Meaning that they don't want to be sold. Say it again.
You need to convince them with your tone of voice and your approach.
100%. I appreciate you for sharing on that. And that's correct, right? Your tone approach and your approach for them not to feel so pressured, right? Because nobody wants to be sold, but people love buying, right? So as long as they make the idea to buy the product and service and the way that your approach is, right? And the way that you use your tonality, as Janice said, right? That'll help them feel more comfortable coming over. Step 4 that I want to drop is the transfer of energy, right? The transfer of energy is important. If you're not excited, why should they be? Right? So if you sound, yeah, I'm just out here giving this product away. Very monotone, very dry. That energy is not going to transfer over to me to be excited about that product. To be honest, I don't even want to hear you talk because you're making my vibration come a little lower because you're so dry. Okay? But if you have your enthusiasm, right? And enthusiasm don't mean you guys have to be loud. Enthusiasm can be passionate. You ever heard somebody tell a good passionate story and they was whispering, but you felt every vibration in the words that they use? These are the same kind of tactics that you can use when transferring your energy. You just need to know when you should lower your tone if you're saying something very important that you want them to pay attention to. Because if you lower your tone, then they're going to listen a little bit harder. Right? But things that you want to highlight and things that you want them to feel big and excited and enthused about, then you change the tone of your voice and you get a little bit more excited. All right? You're not selling a product. You're transferring belief, emotion, and urgency about what you feel about the solution from this product. Remember, those are the things that we want to solve. We want to solve a problem. So yes, Wi-Fi may be what they purchase as the product, but the problems that we're solving is the fact that the wife can work from home, her 3 children that's home from summer school, they can be able to work on their games, their tablets, and their iPads, stream and do all that without no interrupted service. See, that's what I want to paint the picture to my customer when I create transfer of energy. What is it going to feel like for you to be able to make sure that you still work from home and your sons is not knocking on your door every 30 minutes that, Mom, my game's lagging. See, if you can pitch that idea and transfer that information over to create that visual, that's what give them a lot more transfer energy on the sale of the product. And as we all know, the common one that I say, people remember how you make them feel, not the product that you gave them. Right? Especially in our industry, right? There's a lot of phone providers, a lot of internet providers throughout the United States in each city. So what's going to be the reason that I come back to you? Yay, right? Why should I come back and refer my family to you, Janice? Bill, why should I refer my people to you? Because how you made me feel in that experience. Okay? And last but not least, solving problems. May I interrupt? You can share. I mean, it's open as long as you share.
You have to sell yourself. Because they're not going to buy from you unless they believe in you. That's incredibly important.
100%.
You already touched on it. It's knowing what you're talking about, but you have to sell yourself to that person in order for them to actually believe in it.
I agree 100%. People buy people before they buy products.
Correct.
Yep. Last but not least, in tip 5, keeping our mindsets focused on solving problems. Okay. How to win in sales is being able to solve problems. And I touched on it a little bit about creating a visual of how the product can solve that problem. Stop selling and start solving. Go into the conversation with looking for a problem to solve for the customer, and we'll start to see a little bit more results come forward. Okay? People don't want features, they want solutions. Right? So we may get into how much of the features that the internet provider owns, what are the features of the phones and those type of things. But how does this really solve my problem? That's all that they care about. So if you can explain the features in a problem solving scenario, then you kind of get a different reaction from your customer. But if we talk too much about just the features and not how the problems are solved, then we leave that vague for them to say, I just want to think about it for a little minute. You got a flyer or something? That's when you get those objections, because you haven't hit a pain point enough that solves a problem for them through moving forward with the sales process. Okay, that's another thing. Last thing I want to touch on there, low energy equals low conversion rate.
Can you give an example?
Say it again.
Can you give an example regarding the internet or the phones about a solving scenario instead of the feature?
100%. So I can go back to one that I use as far as with the mom with the 3 children. Or let's say that I use a trucker, someone that drives trucks around the nation, right? Our home internet provider that we have through Xfinity, whether they go with the IEP program, the features I could tell them about, it comes with this type of database, but all they care about is I need my internet when I'm driving on the road. All right. So a problem that I can solve is that nationwide hotspot, Xfinity has the most nationwide hotspots throughout any phone provider. So no matter what state that you're traveling through, if you're going from Alabama all the way to Michigan, there is a nationwide Xfinity hotspot in every state that you travel through. So as you travel, you'll still have connectivity. Here's the best part. You use the same login and password that you use for your home internet. So you don't have to add an additional Wi-Fi or hotspot plan to this to this internet plan, because it's included in our IEP program. If I could help you make sure that you got hotspot internet for every state that you go into, would that be something that helps you move forward with this product and service, Mr. Customer? Does that make sense for you, Bill?
All right, so you went into the internet. I don't know if everybody's here for the Xfinity or the free phones, but can you give a free phone scenario?
100%. A free phone scenario, how it can solve a problem instead of talking about the feature. Hey, Mr. Morris, quick question for you, brother. Have you ever went a period of time where you lost connection or you couldn't pay your phone bill? I'm role playing with you, Bill, so I'll give you the example.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever went 30 days or went a period of time where you couldn't pay your phone bill or lost signal?
I'm just gonna role play with you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. How did that make you feel? Were you in an emergency situation? How did that make you feel when you...
I wanted my phone to be working.
You wanted your phone to be working. Understood. And these days, we know how the internet is. Everybody wants something fast, right? We want instant gratification. So what we do and what we're offering today through the Lifeline program, Mr. Bill, is you can qualify today for a free smartphone service. It will cost you $0 a month, right? Meaning that you'll have a monthly service and a backup phone that you can use in those emergency time frames. Kind of like a family that I helped not too long ago. One of their daughters just went to high school, right? But she didn't want to spend all the money on an iPhone because she don't know if she's ready for an iPhone. So we was able to give her one of our free smartphone services. That way she didn't have to worry about her child being unsecure and not having communication with her having a new freshman in high school. And she don't have to worry about paying a lot of money out of pocket just in case she's very irresponsible with it. So you too, as long as you have an ID in any state or federal benefit, I can too give you a backup phone so you don't feel uncertain or not without communication like you did when you had lost service. Does that make sense, Mr. Bill?
All right. So.
Perfect. Do me a favor, pull your ID out for me so I can get your application started. All right. So there's an example on how we will move forward with that. And